Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing great, and I hope you are there just to take advantage of everything that we're going to be discussing here. So, this is another podcast episode from SO-LANGUADE Academy. So, today we have a provocative debate because many people have been claimed that English itself is enough to achieve the success. And then we have here guests who can discuss it in more detail. So, first of all, I'll give the floor to my left. Please, do you mind introduce yourself, please?
Hello, guys. It's me, Ed Writer. That's okay. Thank you.
So, why don't you sell your fish? Who is Ed Writer?
Okay.
Yes, please be free,
Well,
bro.
thank you very much for that. Well, Ed Writer is an English teacher. Ed Writer is an entrepreneur. I'm also an event organizer. I'm CEO of three academies this time around. I'm also an investor in agriculture sector. Uh, that's that.
Okay, thank you, Ed Writer. So, second, please, do you mind introduce yourself?
No, I don't. Good afternoon, everybody out there. This is Alipio Garcia speaking to you. I am an English teacher, a language enthusiast. Yeah, and that's about me.
Okay, thank you, teacher Alipio. So, next, please, do you mind introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody.
Mm.
At the other end, I'm Einstein, and I'm the CEO of Einstein Tech Academy. I'm also, besides being an English teacher, I also teach public speaking, emotional intelligence, leadership, and financial literacy. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, and the last but not the least, we have on my right, please. You mind introduce yourself again, please?
Sure.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Teofilo Domingos. I'm an English language teacher, teacher trainer, but also the director of projects and research for the Angolan English Language Teacher Association, ANELTA. I think
Right.
that's it.
Thank you very much. So now we can just give the kickoff of our podcast. Okay. So the first question I'm going to address to Mr. Ed Writer, the CEO of. I know that name, Corrida dos Ratos. What is it, please?
It's a great race.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
speaking about this, it's like for those one
Yeah.
who are very addicted to
Yeah.
work for the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't see a financial result.
Okay.
Yeah, meaning that every single day they go out to work for the others. At the end of the month, they have the same problem.
Okay.
Then once I launched on air, one of these lecture that was a bombastic lecture because many people were eager to know much more, and I was not expecting that number. But thank God that was a very productive result.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. On the last activity you heard, it's one of your guests claimed that English itself doesn't solve the problem, and currently people take it seriously. People think that the fact that speak English is enough to achieve the success, and you agreed when one of your guests claimed that English doesn't solve the problem. What do you mean? I mean, can you just help others to understand what this sentence means?
Okay, first,
Yeah.
this topic it came from our workshop mindset for the third edition,
Yeah.
which we launched on air on Saturday last. That was English is not enough, and that was me myself who introduced this topic for the others to talk about, and also I was also one of the participants on that.
Yeah.
But why this statement? English is not enough. Why? Because we have been seeing plenty of guys, men, much more English teacher and English speakers. Yeah, they think that having English that is enough. Once we have such others opportunity, careers opportunities, that it really involves much more on that, so that we can have a good success. Why? English is not a local language. English it is a global language. Once be a global language, we need really to know much more what things we can align with English, not simply have in English. For example, if it is just work at offshore department, of course, the people there will not simply ask you English. We ask you something else. Even if it is to work as a receptionist, even to be a driver. Of course, that your English only won't help you to drive the car, meaning that you need to learn something else to align it, and it may just provide you such global careers opportunities.
Okay, thank you very much. Good answer. Mr. Alipiu, many teachers, when they want to promote their service, they just suggest, I mean, they state that English is everything you need. Once my friend already said that English isn't everything. What do you have to say about this?
First of all, just want to say thank you for the question
Yeah.
and for being able to be part of this
Good.
amazing discussion.
Good.
Okay. Definitely English is not enough. We need English plus. Okay. So in addition to what my friend have said, today we live in a globalized world, which means we need to have both hard and soft skills.
Right.
Okay. So regarding to your questions, of course, we promote English, but we have to know that it didn't shouldn't. I mean, this shouldn't be the only way for us to excel to succeed in whether personal or maybe professional area.
Good.
See,
Good.
so we need to see what value can we aggregate, okay, apart from the language we speak.
Great, great. So another questions I would like to address to you is about today's method. Yeah, you are one of the teachers who said that today's method is inadequate. Traditional method is inadequate. What do you have to say about these current methods people have been using during their lessons?
Yeah. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never said that. I've never said that
Okay.
methods today are inadequate. No, it depends. It depends. Okay. Um, as I said earlier, we are in a globalized world, and teaching is not something static. It's dynamic.
Great.
Okay, and as a teacher, we have to upgrade ourselves. So,
Great.
and teaching methodologies is the key, because the way I approach a certain student or a certain group of students, it's going to be different from the one I also have taught maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, so methods are good since it works according to the students you have, the environment itself. Okay, so for example, we have some, let's say, very known methods. Okay, communicative approach, for example. Okay, the grammar translations, which I do not use that much, but I don't think that it's wrong to some extent. Okay, so it's all about the objective, okay, you want to achieve.
Great, great. So I will keep this question. What do you have to say about traditional method that we learned back in the days, and today many teachers continue using this method once we are in technological area?
Indeed.
Yeah.
So for my dear teachers like me,
Yeah.
definitely we cannot be static. We have always to update the methods. We have numbers of them. Okay, so we have to be able to find out which method would work best for our classes. Okay, I've seen people saying that today is wrong to use, for example, the grammar translation method, which for me it's not that wrong at all, although it's ancient, but it's going to also to depend on how teacher apply it. If it works, I think you should do it, but if it not, you should find another mechanism in order to make things work, because at the end of the day, what you teach, there must be a result. Okay, so for us teachers, we cannot be based on one certain methods. We have to be able to diversify our our qualifications in terms of teaching.
Oh, well, great, great. So now let's dive into Mr. Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein, you had mentioned that the great pillars of oratory are what actually open doors to English speaking words. So how does public speaking elevate someone's English, please?
Well, before diving into,
Yeah.
before kind of exploring
Great. Yeah.
the answer or the solution to this question, I would like to take everybody who's watching this on a journey. And there's a problem that I would like us to address. And the problem is that, for example, everybody here speaks Portuguese, right?
Great.
And
Good.
probably you who are watching this video speak Portuguese too. And why do you go to a certain training center to learn public speaking?
Great.
Well, that's probably because, well, the language that you speak is going to respond to a question, and what question that is. The question is what? And public speaking is a way that you know, it's the way that you are going to respond to that question. Like the language is going to respond to what, and public speak is going to respond to how. And public speaking, you know, before I respond to the question, we
Good.
have to know what is public speaking, what we're dealing with. And I want to approach it from the following perspective. Instead of responding what public speaking is, I want to say what public speaking probably is not. And public speaking isn't merely about delivering a speech. Well, this is what we think, like I'm going to deliver a speech, and that's public speaking. Isn't just about it. Well, public speaking is an art. So it's the art of connecting. It's the art of influencing. It's the art of persuading people, right? And we can come up with other things like teaching, motivating, and stuff like that. But it will all come down, essentially, it will all come down to the idea that public speaking is an art of influencing, communicating ideas, and stuff like that. And so, as entrepreneurs, well, as entrepreneurs, as human beings, we are, being good communicator has a huge impact in all of us. Well, as an entrepreneur, supposing that you want to sell something, well, there's a product you want to sell as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, there's a product you want to sell. And, you know, if the product, if the packaging doesn't attract attention, then it's then the value of the same product is going to go unnoticed. So that's an interesting point. So the product by itself means nothing. It's meaningless. And the value of the product is understood by people, and it needs to be well communicated. It's like this bottle of water. You would probably be willing to pay 200 for it.
Great.
But what if we go to a desert or a wilderness? Then based on the need that you have, the perceived need, then you are going to give a lot more value to this bottle of water. Maybe being willing to pay 10,000 for it if you got this amount of money. So that's how public speak. This is the importance of public speaking. And for a business owner, you communicate the value of the thing, and it also has a huge impact for those for like overall, you know, for you as a person. How? Like by communicating better, you are going to have better relationships.
Okay.
By communicating better, you can influence people to taking certain actions. By communicating better, you motivate more, and things get better. So everything kind of comes down to communication. And how, I think now we're ready to talk about how public speaking may elevate one's English. Public speaking elevates one's English because it helps you to consider the effectiveness of your words. So English is a language, and English is going to teach you what to say. It's like you're going to learn. For example, I want to say how to say casa in English. Well, you're going to learn casa in English is house, right? You learn it. But public speaking is going to help you consider, well, is this the word that I want to use based on this context? And this training of considering the right word to use elevates your English, because not only you are going to think of what to say, but you are going to consider the impact that it's going to cause.
Great.
And a quick reference. there's this guy, Simon Sinek, who is a leader, who has said once that communication is not about what you say. Communication is people understanding what you're saying, and this is part of public speaking, right? And if you have this mentality, well, for example, in linguistics, there's this study of synonyms, so that says that we have types of synonyms. We have absolute synonyms, which refer to words that mean exactly the same thing, and we have partial synonyms, which refers to words that have about the same meaning. So words like rich and wealthy. So I'm talking to an audience, and I want to refer to somebody having who has a lot of money, but depending on the emotion that I want to appeal,
Yes.
depending on the exact meaning that I want to communicate, I might consider which word do I want to use. And for people who write articles and books and things like that, they understand a lot about it. So they understand that the words that I use, words are powerful, and depending on the word you use, you might convey a meaning. And words, that's kind of philosophical. Words on their own don't mean nothing. Like, that's kind of philosophical and arguable. But words on their own kind of mean nothing sometimes. The meaning depends a lot on emotional state of the person and the culture, for example. So like what these words means in this place. So that's the implicit meaning communicated. So having this mindset will help you for those who are studying English, or for those who speak English and are kind of like questioning themselves, how is public speaking going to elevate my English? Well, you are going to read a lot to extend your linguistic repertoire. And when you have to speak to people, you have to consider, well, is this the word that, well, is this, for example, the word short and midget? Well, they mean the same thing. They refer to somebody who's not tall. But if you go to the USA, for example, and you call somebody, or you refer to somebody as being midget, you might go to jail, because they associate midget with what we call by a noun, I think, right? Those guys, yeah, will suffer from from that thing. So that's the power of public speaking in English.
Great. And then how do you face those English training centers who do not care about public speaking to their learners?
That's an interesting question. And I would say that communication should be explored everywhere.
Great.
So it should be explored everywhere. For example, I have noticed that in schools we learn Portuguese language, but we don't have a subject about public speaking. And centers might not have this vision already, but it's important to have somebody who understands about communication, because sometimes people might even have something to say, but they don't know how to properly say it.
Okay.
And public speaking is not just about like communicating your ideas logically. It's also about, for example, we study the voice, like the modulation of the voice, or how you are going to communicate that.
But this kind of, sorry to interrupt you, but I did, this kind of lesson should be implemented in the first level, second level. How do you believe they should implement this kind of stuff?
Well, when you understand about something, the way that you are going to approach it is very different from somebody who does not understand about that.
Good.
For somebody who has definitions of and concepts of public speaking, he might attempt to teach these things, to students. For example, body language is this, and that. It's not something that I would suggest you to do with beginners, because I'm not there to learn public speaking. I'm there to learn English. But you can still teach me public speaking without making it conscious or aware. How? For example, you are learning a language, and we start promoting communicative lessons, for example, like talking. And people are talking, and when they talk, you can be there and tell, okay, so why don't you kind of stand this way? Or, for example, you give them certain tasks, certain things for them to check, and when they come to present the next day, you sitting there taking notes. For example, maybe they're not walking much, or maybe they're not maintaining eye contact, enough eye contact, or maybe they're having trouble using their hands while communicating, right? So you can be taking notes of these things, and once they're done communicating, you can say, you know what, that was good, but what if you did it this way? And the best way of teaching something is through action.
Okay.
So
Great.
it's like you're not just speaking, but you're showing.
Great.
So
Great.
as a teacher, if you are a good communicator, then you don't always have to point out at things that they have to do. It's like, they can see you, and we have in our brains certain neurons that have the role of kind of like imitating or finding
Great.
things to
Great.
imitate.
Great.
I
We
wanted to
got, we
add
got the point.
something, if you
Yeah.
allow me.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
I see from his explanation
Yeah.
something very deep.
Great.
And I think that one of the most important reasons that public speaking would be or must be integrated in while teaching the language is because language centers at the end of the day expect students to have a final presentation at the end of their course.
Right.
So, and we wonder, how are you expecting a brilliant presentation if you haven't prepared the learner throughout the process on how he can publicly address his message? So I think it's really important to do it. Now, how should we do it?
Yeah, okay,
Especially
how
if
should,
there's,
yeah. I
Yeah.
think
come up with
Alipio,
some-
Alip, I think is one of a specialist because he's master of pronunciation. Alipio, is there no relations public speak and the pronunciation in English?
I would say yes. I would say yes because uh talking to people you need and you have to be able to articulate words in a very good manner. Okay, so throughout the training that somebody is going to take, of course there will be some sections about pronunciation and things related to this.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Sorry, I would like to add something
Mhm.
to that. And that's true. There's actually a good relationship between pronunciation training and public speaking, because within public speaking, diction is taught. And
Yeah.
diction is basically how to be articulate. So a public speaking coach should also understand, not from a teacher's perspective. For example, if you are an English
Yes.
teacher, you teach sounds and symbols.
Yeah.
And you teach those sounds and symbols like phonetics and phonology.
English alphabet.
within within public speaking, you're not addressing pronunciation from that perspective, because within public speaking, you assume that the person who's taking this course, if it's in English, he's good at English. If it's in Portuguese, he's good at Portuguese. So you're just helping the person kind of be more articulate and sound more clear through certain exercises.
Okay, great. So now let's dive into Mr. Domingos. The last time we met, you had pointed that you are struggling a lot to put High Flex Academy international recognized. So how is this process going before I move into the question? Please.
I think
And please
we're
speak a little bit more.
working-
What is a High Flex Academy, please?
Okay.
Yeah.
The High Flex Academy is it's a business. It's a language school. We teach English. We teach English as a foreign language. We train teachers, but we also provide ELT consultancy services, like English language teaching consultancy services. We've worked with different schools, language centers, and many other different institutions. So this is what High Flex Academy is. I am one of the key leaders of the
Representative.
business. There are other people involved in the business. I don't run the business alone.
Okay, great.
But when you ask about how are we in terms of our international accreditation, we're still working on that. We've met with several organizations, and we're still kind of trying to find the right pricing,
Okay.
because we can't simply accept. We're talking about accreditations that would be around 2,000 pounds
Wow.
a year, and if you pay for those accreditation and at the end of the day You start advertising your courses, especially that the accreditation would be specifically for the teacher training. And the question is, are prospective teachers in our market willing to pay
This
let's say 300,000 kwanzas? Are they willing to pay 300,000 for a course? Are they willing to pay up to 500,000 for a course?
Yeah.
But we're not just talking about a course. We're talking about a high quality course. And for those who have taken a teacher training course with me, they know how much we do. They know how much we offer for our teacher training programs, like the mentorship that we provide after the course, the job referral process that we have after the training, the investment on different course books and different books, different resources. There's a lot we do, and we think adding on top of that the international accreditation would be a way of also adding value to our services,
great.
but it would automatically raise the price. So we
I saw
Yeah.
an advertisement. I saw one and I saw different price. I don't know if it is already working. Yeah,
we have a
last
different price.
back in the days it was 50,000.
There's something I have to clarify here. What happens
Yeah.
that we have the course is the course comprises 4 modules,
Okay.
from module 1 up to module 4. And what we were offering at that time was only module 1 and 2.
Correct.
And module 1 and 2 was the cost was 50,000, which means that if you take module 1 and 2 50,000, then you take module 3 and 4 50, so overall the course was 100,000. But then after running 3 different cohorts last year and successfully, we came to the conclusion that it wouldn't be good to keep offering the course as standalone modules, like modules that can be offered separately. So we came to the conclusion that we should offer the whole course and not modules that could be taught separately. So what we're doing now is offering the whole course, the whole teacher training course with the 4 modules, and the price is 150. So which means that compared to what we were doing before,
Yeah.
what we have is like plus 50,000. And we have these plus 50,000 because we were very successful in our job referral service. All the trainees who did the training with us, most of them are currently employed. And they were employed because High Flex Academy took the lead in looking for job for them. We basically train our teachers,
Yeah.
and then we sell them to the market.
Yeah,
But
so-
we say sell without money, like nobody pays us for selling them. But what we do is we get job for our teachers, and many of them are working in
Yes.
very good
Yeah.
language schools in Luanda, like across the city. And this is one of the reasons that took us to kind of rethink our pricing,
Okay.
and we came up with a different price.
Well, great, great. Now, many that is everybody will answer these questions today. Many English speaker, fluent English speakers, they said and they agree that the fact they speak English, they are able to teach. So, which are the consequences? Someone being taught with those guys, the fact that they speak English, they can teach. Before, they do not give a who about attaining training course.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, which are the consequences, and what do you have to say about this?
Okay, this is dangerous.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't go straight to your question, but I would invite
Good,
you and the panelists to think about different professions.
Okay.
Let's think about going to the hospital, and you have scheduled an appointment. You have an appointment with the doctor, and then once you're there, you realize that the doctor is not trained in the field. He's not certified. Of course, anyone would be worried about that. So I have an appointment with the doctor, and now I know that the so-called doctor is not really a doctor. So anybody would be worried about being there with that doctor, because we know what might happen.
Okay.
It would be the same thing with other professions, especially if you would have to hire someone to do a job for you, and then you know that the person is not specialized. So this is one thing I wanted you to reflect on. But the other thing is, many of us have heard of hospitals that perform surgeries and other actions. I would say connected to medicine,
Great.
and then nobody complains when they do their job successfully. But when something goes wrong and they are investigated, they come to the conclusion that that doctor wasn't certified, regardless of the many good results he has had before. They are usually taken to the jail. They go to jail because they were performing a legal job. Nobody looks at 100 patients he has provided support, the treatment. So nobody looks at that. Nobody, even if his previous patients would come and say he's a very good doctor. I had a cancer, and then once I went to several hospitals. I went to Prenda, Maria Pien. I had no solution, but my solution was with him. Still, the legal aspect will undervalue that aspect, those testimonials, and we'll look at, like, before you perform this profession, you should be qualified and certified.
Great.
It happens. And my question is, okay, I wasn't supposed to be asking the question, but my question is, why do we look at teaching as being, yeah, one more thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
everybody can teach,
Can teach.
like everybody can enter a classroom and start teaching.
Okay.
So this is very dangerous. I go back to my
Yeah.
initial statement.
Mhm.
This is very dangerous when a nation, and we have to look at this as being a problem of the nation, not a problem of Luanda, not a problem of my neighborhood, my municipality. Let's look at this as a problem of the nation. A nation that doesn't look at education as being something serious is a nation that will hardly thrive.
Indeed.
What are we expecting from this? When you have people in classrooms, and I say people in classroom because they mostly are not teachers. And I've been to a situation where I was in a teacher training school and I had to go to teaching practice. And then when I went to the local school where I had to have my teaching practice, the local teacher was not a certified teacher. And then what you have is sort of a clash between the teacher trainee and the non-certified teacher who is from the local school, and he's supposed to be a tutor, because you're coming up with different practices that align with what is acceptable within the profession when it comes to English language teaching. But then the local teacher is telling you that these shouldn't be done this way. So you start having unnecessary conflicts that should be avoided if we had trained teachers. And when I talk about trained teachers and non-trained teachers, I'm not just looking at the private sector, freelancers and teachers working at private schools. I'm even looking at public schools. You will still find thousands of public schools teachers that are not trained. Or if they are trained in teaching, they are trained in a different subject. I've seen people were trained in biology, but they're teaching English. And when you ask him, why are you teaching? It's because my school lacked an English teacher. And the principal decided that, like, as I speak English, I would be teaching English.
Okay.
And then we start questioning, why do people go from grade 7 up to university without speaking English? Why don't we have results? Of course, it's obvious. You don't have teachers in classroom. You have someone who speaks the
Who speaks
language,
the language?
teaching the language.
the
So
language.
how can you expect results from someone who is not a professional? But of course, it's not the only reason. We have the many other aspects that we would talk about. But going back to
Okay, no,
the
that's
thing of
Let's
English
continue.
language teaching as such,
Yeah.
non-trained teachers,
Yeah.
my message is, whatever is the profession, you have to be certified and qualified before you enter the industry.
Great.
And in English language teaching, I will keep saying that whoever who wants to teach English should first go to an initial teacher training course. That's the key thing, and that's not enough because you might even and this is a very common reasoning that people come up with. I know somebody who didn't go to any teacher training school. He didn't go to INE. He didn't go to ISTED.
But
And then you see performing at a very
Performance,
good
yeah, at a very
level. You see results. You see his students learning the language and speaking the language. On the other hand, you see someone who's been to an initial teacher training course at INE, at ISED, or has taken an
Sem4.
initial teacher training course at a
Sem4.
private school or SEM4.
Yeah.
But then I'm a bit you know what's the issue with SEM4? It's not field specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
The
not
teacher
field-
training
that's the
for
only
teaching
thing.
adult. Teacher
Yeah.
training to teach adult.
Yeah, but to
Yeah.
teach what to adults? To teach language, to teach
Not to teach.
because the thing is you have someone who wants to teach English, you have someone who wants to teach French, you have someone who wants to teach accounting, someone who wants to teach HR. They are all in the same class taking the same course, and the question at the end of the day is which methodology will they apply when they finish?
Yeah.
Because I'm teaching a language. I can't teach a language in the same way that someone is teaching accounting. I can't teach English in the same way that someone is teaching ICT. So we're teaching different subjects, and therefore different subjects demand different methodological approaches. So different things. So the only thing with SEM4 is that it's not field specific. I have my partner from High Flex Academy has taken SEM4. When I look at the curriculum, I say, okay, there are great stuff, but the only thing is it's not field specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the only thing with SEM4. But
Okay.
that's the legal training that we have in the country, and we can't neglect it
Yeah.
because that's the legal training or the legal certification that the country offers if you want to teach.
What's your point about this issue? It is for INEFOP, it is not allowed. Even if you attend teacher training, maybe in another academy, but for say INEFOP, it's not allowed you teach to be a part of professional training center.
Yeah. And
But you are saying, those initial training is not as much important as the teacher training when the teacher's just being is being classifying himself to English as a teacher. But the one, if we do not attend the initial teacher training from SEM4, it isn't allowed to perform as a professional in English training center or some other professional training center. Yeah,
yeah, that's it. That's why I was saying.
yeah.
Let me clarify what I
Yeah.
was saying.
Mhm.
SEM4 is a legal aspect.
Good.
Whoever who teaches in, like, let's say, corporate, he's a corporate teacher. I mean, here he teaches English to companies, different companies, ministries, and stuff. He should have SEM4. If one wants to teach at a language school, and we have many like High Flex Academy and many others, you should have SEM4. But the aspect is the person trained on how to teach the language while he takes SEM4? Is he trained to teach English, or he's just given because I am an educator. I'm not just an English language teacher, but I am an educator. My training at the high school was about teaching English and moral and civic education. And I didn't only study English language teaching methodology. Initially, I had to study pedagogy and other interrelated subjects that were not about teaching English. And teaching English was at a later stage where I started learning specific methodology on how to teach English. But before that, I studied other subjects. I think the problem would be easily solved by introducing a module or a subject, if we prefer, on how to teach adults. If the only problem at SEM4 is preparing people on how to teach adults, and I think that's andragogy.
Andragogy. Yeah.
So if that's the only problem, how to teach adults, it's simple. Let's include in the teacher training schools at Magistérios, at the SED, the Escola Superior
Method to
Pedagógica,
teach
let's include a specific module on how to teach adults. Because the person is able to teach, and the only problem is that he was not trained specifically on how to teach adults, and that's the very same problem we have on how to teach children.
Yeah.
I work for Magistério Montpellier and we
Do
don't
you,
train
do you
teachers
guys agree with
on how to
this?
teach children. At ESED, I studied at ESED. At ESED doesn't teach us how to teach children,
Indeed, that is
but
true.
they teach us how to teach.
So, so
So-
guys, do you all agree with him that to be considered as a teacher, have to attend teacher training course?
No, to be
Well,
considered a teacher.
A
of English.
teacher of English. Okay,
teacher of
a
English.
teacher of English.
I,
Yes.
I do
Oh.
believe that the main point here is English.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
And Mr. Teofilo has said
Yeah.
it's not about the training itself,
Yeah.
but what training are you going to have? Okay. Because when you go to SEM 4, you're going to have a training teacher, but not English. Okay. It's not specific. Okay. It's too generic. Okay. So I have taken this training, but that
Yeah.
was not in English.
Okay,
And
that
the
was-
techniques I have learned was not to teach English. You see, this is the
Mm.
bottom line. Okay,
Mm.
so it's okay, we have to have this training, but specific in our area. So if I am not mistaken, this is something they are working on. I have heard from someone that in a few times they're also thinking about having teacher training, but in a specific area.
Area.
Okay, for example, if you want to teach public speaking, if you want to teach accounting, there will be specific training for you, and this is what should be done.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and going back to the question you have
Mm.
mentioned
yeah.
that
Mm.
could you
Many
come
guys,
again?
the
Yes.
fact that they are fluent in English, they feel able to teach. Yeah. So, what is
Yes.
the danger of this? Just someone being taught to those guys that they consider themselves English teacher, the fact that they speak English or they are fluent in English,
Yes.
which are the biggest consequence of dangers.
I'm going to be very brief because Teofilo has already said
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Okay. So of course it's danger.
Mm.
This is why we don't see result we expect, you know, because when you are not trained, okay, to teach,
You cannot stand.
you can stand, but you need to have techniques and stuff like this. And this type of techniques, methods, approaches you learn in a course. Okay, you can do it by yourself because we have self start. I mean, I would say that self students, okay, that they do things, they learn things by themselves, but at the end of the day, they need some certification. I'm not saying that teachers who are not certified, to some extent, they do not have qualities. They
Yeah,
do,
they do.
okay? But we have to know what is teaching is all about, specifically languages, okay? Because the way we approach teaching for children's young adults are different. Just because of the fact that I can speak English, it doesn't mean that I can teach unless I go for a training, whether certified or not, because I still believe that some of us, not all of us, some of us went to an English training school, teach English without any qualification. When I say any qualification, I'm talking about training, okay?
Great, great.
Just because they were good at speaking the languages, so they believe that they could teach, it's okay, but we need to train ourselves. So
Okay.
for everyone out there, okay, we are not saying that if you are not certified, you are not,
Not able to
let's say, able to teach, but before
Yeah, just say the
teaching,
risks.
yeah, it's very risky. This is why we don't see the result we expect. You see, this is why we see some students complaining, I've been learning English for a certain time and I don't see any result. This might be because of the methods and techniques this particular teacher is using.
So let's shift a little bit from
actually have a point
methodology.
before
have a
you-
po-
you
yeah,
actually
okay, okay,
change
go,
if you
go,
allow
go
me.
ahead. Just be brief because
Let's just look at Portuguese. We
Mhm.
are Angolans. Angola is a Portuguese-speaking country, despite other local languages we have.
Yeah.
And the point is, why do we still have ETSED, Escola Superior Pedagógica and Magistérios, curso de ensino de língua portuguesa? Why do we still have this?
Yeah.
We are all Angolans. We all speak Portuguese. I
Yeah.
think everybody who speaks Portuguese would be able to start teaching the language. So why do we spend 4 years, and it's not 1 year, 3 months?
Yeah.
We spend 4 years studying, specializing in Portuguese language teaching. We go to school, we are Angolans and we speak the language, but we still go for 4 good years to learn how to teach Portuguese. So now let's
but
think about English, which is a foreign language.
Yeah.
Yes.
So of course, and not every British or American teach English. They
Yeah.
speak the language, but for them to teach English, and I've met a lot of native speakers from the UK, America, that they had to take a teacher training course.
Great.
They even take PhDs. They even
Yeah.
take masters for them to teach the language. But they're so-called native speakers we look at as a reference. So
As a reference.
speaking the language is one thing. Being able to teach it is also another
Is
thing.
another thing. Okay, thank you very much. So let's move on to my friend Eddie Writers. Eddie Writer, in your own experience,
Yes.
what happened to those people with a great level of English, but they still like opportunity? So what do you have to say about this?
Okay, you're talking about some
Self skill.
careers.
Yeah. So your
Careers
own experience,
opportunity.
those guys that have a great English level,
Yeah.
but they lack of opportunity by using their English skill.
Okay, the belief that
Yeah,
it
what
is
is the-
aligning. Yeah, it is aligning to what I said in the very
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
Once we just be limited, think that English is enough.
Okay.
Of course, that we want to go beyond, meaning that we want to explore some other areas. And for example, if someone said no, there is an opportunity to work in offshore, and they just teach English for years, meaning that I will lack this opportunity. I won't be there because it will miss much more. To work there, it requires not only speaking English, disability, softer skill, but also technical skill to work there because it's dangerous to work there without having any other skill. And there are so many English teachers who are very limited. They are just very limited. They think that having English is enough and they can explore some other areas. I say this by my own experience.
Okay,
Yeah, by
okay.
my own experience. Once some opportunity were providing to me, but unfortunately, yeah, I was not ready enough to do it. But thank God, now I can do it. I can take some others opportunity because also with the business experience that I have and knowledge, and sometimes I teach business people use my English as well. I teach also public speaking and assertive communication. Use my English, meaning that I decided to align my English with something else.
So did you attend teacher training?
The training, I did it.
Wow.
I did it with Master Beto.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, Master Beto.
And how about you, teacher Albert?
Um,
Not yet.
Only Einstein, actually.
Ah, okay. I see. Okay.
When
Did
hear
you
about
attend teacher
Einstein-
training?
Yeah, I have taken it.
Okay.
In high school, in high school, I actually went to INE. In Soyo, I went to INE. But there was this need to have, to be certified as a teacher who has that certification.
Okay.
Yeah, so I took the training, but I'm planning to take another one with Mr. Teofilo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So why? Which are the reason? Because he sold the fish here, and you.
Well, it's not really because he sold the fish here.
Yeah.
Because I had known that he teaches this course for
Yeah.
some time now, and I have, well, when after taking the course in Soyu, like there were a lot of people there. We had their engineers, we had entrepreneurs, we had English teachers, we had people, professionals from different fields, and we were like being taught the same things, and it was not very specific. So that gave me the need, because word profession, it's like an electrician. For example, you see it a lot among engineers. For example, first he studies. For example, he got majors, or he's a mechanical engineer, and then is going to study like some interrelated fields in order to be more well-rounded about what he knows. And knowledge is something that you cannot look at it and say, okay, ever since I have studied it, or I have studied it, I have this certification, I'm done, I'm good.
Good.
It's a continuous thing. Like you have to follow like the new tendencies, the how society, the world itself is moving. And you learn something, you think you're good, okay, you're gonna be left behind.
Indeed.
So you
Yeah.
know that Mr. Jofalo is good at it. So he's bringing, as he said, different modules and
Great.
stuff like that.
Yes.
So if you and one thing, this is not actually for me, but it's just a thought that came up in my mind right now, and I think it might benefit somebody on the other hand. On the other hand, for example, supposing that you are a famous teacher here in Angola,
Sure.
or a famous teacher here in Luanda, you might feel like, well, if I take this course, people are gonna know that I took this course from Mr. Teofilo. They're gonna think that so Mr. Teofilo, like he got the upper hand compared to him. Well, he might have the upper hand, but the problem is not having an upper hand or being
Yeah.
better. Well, you should focus on yourself. So what are you gonna do? Prevent yourself from getting this knowledge because you don't want to learn something from somebody else. That's
Yeah.
absurd.
And
No.
there is also another point which it is so, because most of the stuff that I like to share
Yeah.
mainly in public,
Yeah.
it's really aligned with my personal experience. And there is something that was launched there, and it is like to teach English. Yes, we needed to be certified with such other training. Yeah, and this is something that I don't go along 100%. Yeah.
Why?
Well, why this? Because before I started teach English, yeah, I didn't have this training. And then when I decide to go to take firstly my pedagogy training, most of the things that my trainer was providing me, I knew this.
Really?
Yeah, I'm telling you, mainly the performance, how to be. And in that time, I was with an explanation, which is like we say a community class. Okay, explanation. This is the first, right? We call
Okay.
this community class in the neighborhood. I was with it. I started, and my brother used to start at the said, and I was with him. I was as well learning indirectly many methods how to do it.
Okay.
But when I decided, no, I said, once I'm here with this project, I decided to take pedagogy training so that I just could uplift my skills. And when I went there, my teacher, my trainer was very surprised with my performance, the way I was teaching. And sometimes it's like what I said. There are places that I just go there to get the certificate.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's
So,
what I was saying. That's what I
yeah,
initially said.
Okay.
There's a doctor. No matter how well he
Yeah.
performs, when he's caught by the police,
Yes.
that's crime.
Indeed.
You are not certified.
Yeah.
No.
To be
Okay,
there.
okay. And
But
let's give example.
you hear what he said.
No. It's
He
like, I
knew,
don't-
but just went to the center in
That's
order
the
to
same-
get certificate.
that's
What's
the same
wrong
thing
with
with
it?
the doctor.
There are
The doctor-
guys. There are
The doctor
it's
like
what?
this way.
It's like there are plenty of guys
Yeah.
with such high qualification, but when they are given the opportunity to be on stage, they do
They
nothing.
did okay. Look.
And I have been instructed. Many guys come from academia by
Yeah.
English.
Yeah.
English, I'm telling you, and even to some engineers, I'm telling you, I'm not just speaking because
But okay,
we're you know.
fact.
It's what I've been instructing many guys, and they say no. Some teachers who are there, they are not I mean, they have such qualification, but their way of teaching, yeah, it's nothing. They don't present the result, but they say, how come those guys are there, but their way of teaching, it's like they even so they still use traditional method, and this is not good.
But what do
Yeah.
we mean by traditional methods?
Traditional
Yeah,
And
that's
then
the question.
Okay,
we should have
it's
to
like
go to the English language teaching literature to see what really we're calling as traditional methods.
it's like this is why I said many guys they are looking for titles. They are looking for titles to be their head. No, I started, I finished my graduation at the said, and now I'm ready to do this. And it's like what? For example, in one neighborhood, once you see there is something wrong, like a fire getting, I mean, a house getting fire, but you know you can do it, meaning that you wait for you to be 100% ready to help those guys. Will you
No,
wait for them?
this is something else. We're talking
Yeah,
about
indeed.
an emergency,
Yeah, the
and
emergency.
we have to save lives. But when we
Yeah.
talk about professions,
Professions.
and let me tell you briefly a story of a friend of mine who
We
went to
don't have
Portugal.
much time, so
No,
Okay,
it's very
let's
very quick.
very quick.
A friend of mine who went to Portugal. He was
Yeah.
in Angola and he was teaching English for almost 10 years. He taught at the DET and many other schools,
Okay.
but he studied engineering. When he went to Portugal, he wanted to teach English, a good English language speaker. The guy was good in terms of, he used to teach English mostly online. In terms of methodology, I've seen some of his classes, a good guy. When he went to Portugal, he was told that he could not teach English unless he was certified.
No, I guess
And he
this
needed
point
to
I've
take-
had. I've had at this point. Yeah.
And he needed to take the CELTA, which
Yeah.
is the Certificate of English Language Teaching to Adults provided by Cambridge University before he would even start. And he's not the only person. There are other
Yeah.
people who I have seen in the same condition. But there's something said by Ed Reiter when it came to teachers who are limited. This thing of the limitation. I don't think people are supposed to do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a teacher, he's certified, he's okay with that. I don't think I would call that limitation unless the person then starts complaining the profession doesn't give a lot of money, and I okay,
Yes.
there the person
That's-
would need
No,
to
no,
do
no,
some
that's
business.
not,
If we check,
That's
principal,
not
if we-
because he searched first before entering the class. He first studied, and he maybe was expecting more because he already knew something.
No, the point
Yeah.
of limitation that Eddie Writer raised was regarding people being in a single profession and not exploring the market.
Okay.
And my
Okay.
vision is,
Yeah.
I don't think we all need to explore everything.
Indeed.
I think if the person is in a certain profession and if it feels, because sometimes we want a person to be a businessman when it doesn't have what it takes to be a businessman. Some of us are more open, we explore different fields and we thrive.
Yeah.
But others are more skilled in a given area and they perform very well. And then when they try to explore something else, they are not able to.
No, okay.
Sorry,
when,
sorry,
when
I'm
I
so
say
sorry.
teachers are limited,
Sorry,
when I say
sorry.
teachers are limited, I
Mr.
don't mean most
Writer,
of,
because of time, yeah, we need to call off. I'm so sorry. We will continue discussing about this, okay? So the last question, just to call this. Well, that's amazing debate, and I'm really I appreciate the way you interact. Well, I have just, if you had to give one piece of advice to a professional that maybe watching us right now, um, what what they really need to conquer the international market, what should be the first step? It's a kind of advice. What should they do as the first step to maybe be recognized international market
Is it for English speaker? Is it for
in general?
teachers? Okay, people in
okay,
Angolans in general.
Angola in general,
Anyone
yes.
watching us.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I think the international market demands English first.
Great.
Yeah.
It's we call English as a lingua franca, and a lingua franca is the language
Yeah, 1
that
minute.
connects people worldwide.
Yes.
And currently, English is spoken by thousands of people worldwide. And English, I would say, is apart from being qualified in their own fields, they might be engineers, nurse, or lawyers, anything. English is the key, and many professionals lose money. And I was part of the project
Yeah, we don't
English
have,
para os
we don't have
advogados
time. We don't have
because of
time.
the language.
Just a piece
many
of
people
advice.
had barriers.
A piece of advice, yes.
So my key point would be
Vamos já terminar, yeah? Yeah. Só estamos a fechar o corpo.
my key point would
Yeah.
be to study the language.
Yeah.
So have English
Study.
as a key,
Okay.
and then look for international certifications.
Thank you very
That's
much.
it.
So, just to finish, which piece of advice you should give to someone who want to conquer international market?
Well, I would say, besides English,
30 seconds.
thank you.
Yeah.
You want to improve your communication skills.
Yeah.
Reinforcing the idea that your product, for example, you are an entrepreneur, you might be a teacher, whatever profession you have, your product itself doesn't have value. So because anybody might interpret the value depending on who he is and from the angle he's looking at it. So the value needs to be communicated accordingly.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you
much.
so
Thank you very much. So, just Mr. Alipio Garcia, please.
Good.
A piece
I'm
of
gonna be
advice.
very short because
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
to
yeah, because of
finish
the time, yeah.
So I'm going to say that today,
Yeah.
okay, the world is demanding. Okay, so CPD should be a must for each and every one of us.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. CPD, really. Yeah, bro.
Okay,
just
communication, yeah,
30 seconds.
Okay, two things.
Yeah, yeah.
Communication
Yeah.
and look for ways to open a business, solve
Wow.
problem.
Well, thank you very much. So, class, we're done. Thank you very much, Mr. Teófilo Domingos, Mr. Albert Assens, Mr. Alipio Garcia, as well as Mr. Edwriter Francisco.
Yeah.
Francisco Edwriters. Okay. That was SO-Language Academy podcast, and see you next time for the next episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wait, terminamos, mano.